At first I thought like that he wanted more food or something, and I felt bad because I didn't have anything. But I was like, oh, I have nothing. And he puts out his hand, and so I beckoned him to come to me. I said, come here. And he reaches out and he holds my hand and he kisses my hand. Kisses me, he kisses my hand and he says, Shukran. You can see in this picture that this little boy is not wearing shoes. His clothes are falling off of him because he's so skinny. I put my hand on his left shoulder and I looked at him and he's looking at me. We're looking at each other in the eyes. And I say to him, people care. You're a human being and people care about you. The world cares. That's not Hamas. That's not a Hamas fighter. And I looked at him and I said,
You guys remember this story? Yeah, it turns out that little boy's alive. And we're going to be going over that today. Turns out, too, when you listen to this, when he says that people care, we also know that's a lie. One, from the body cam footage that ended up getting released from that day. But two, he also admitted on this program that, he doesn't speak Arabic at all. But let's continue on with this lie, and then I'm going to show you this boy alive and well.
the world cares. And he put down the little food he has. You notice he doesn't have a box. He doesn't have a box of food. He has half of a bag of rice that he found on the ground, a broken bag, half a bag of lentils that he found on the ground, and he was thanking us. Thank you. This little boy, from where he came from, walked 12 kilometers to get there, just to get there. 12 kilometers. Look at this boy. And when he got there, he thanked us for the rest.
And also, there's another one. I mean, the kid never said a word about how far he walked, so and he doesn't speak Arabic like Aguilar doesn't, so I have no idea how he would know that.
Remnants and the small crumbs that he got, and he sets them down on the ground because I was kneeling at this point, and he sets his food down.
We also know from the body cam footage that he wasn't kneeling. He actually said that kid's got food and kind of shunned him along. But don't worry, we'll get there today.
And he places his hands on my face, on the side of my face, on my cheeks, these frail, skeleton, emaciated hands, dirty. And he puts them on my face and he kissed me. He kissed me and he said, thank you, in English. Thank you. And he collected his items and he walked back to the group. And then he was shot at with pepper spray and tear gas and stun grenades and bullets shot at his feet and in the air. And he runs away scared. I was on the inside of the site. So there's berms that surround the site. So I couldn't see outside of the site. So the last group of people, women and children and small children and kids and children and babies, are leaving the site. And as they're leaving the site and they get to the next intersection, I hear machine gun fire. It startled me because I didn't know what was going on. So I ran up to the berm. You see the berm behind him there. I ran up to the berm so I could look. And I run up to the berm and I get down and I'm kind of like in a covered position and I'm looking like, oh, what's going on? I thought we were being attacked. And the IDF were shooting at the crowd. And I want to point this out. When they left the site, the road to leave the site is covered on both sides by a berm. The IDF can't see that. All the IDF get to see from where their position is right. That as these civilians come out and they hit that main corridor.
Tell us more.
They don't, if they're shooting warning shots to control the population from going east, they can't see on the other side of that berm. And they don't even know that. They don't know that they can't see that because they didn't, they don't have control of the sites. They have to stay away from the sites. So
okay, so here he says they have to stay away from the sites and they don't know any of that. And yet he's got footage of the IDF directly outside of some of those sites. And I've seen that.
They're shooting to control the population that's along the Marag corridor. And as they're doing that, they're shooting into this crowd. And Palestinians, civilians, human beings are dropping to the ground, getting shot. And Amir was one of them. Amir walked 12 kilometers to get food, got nothing but scraps, thanked us for it, and died.
Well, there you go. There is the entirety of the lie told right up front. And, you know, he was also telling other lies yesterday, but we'll get there in just a little bit. First, I think what I would like to do is play for you guys this clip from Fox News that clearly yeah. Let's just play it.
عبد الرحيم
يس
انت ايه شعورك ان انت هتطلع برا قطاع غزة؟
مرة قطع غزة عشانها حلوة.
حلوة؟ طيب تمام. عبد الرحيم، ايه كان رد فعلك لما عرفتي ان مؤسسة غزة الإنسانية بتدور عليكي انت وبتدور على عبد الرحيم عشان تساعدكم ان انتوا تطلعوا خارج القطاع؟
كان شعور حلو وكان اشي مفاجئ، بس كان في حاجات مخوفاني، فانا لما انتم ريحتوني انا ارتحت. لما وصلت عندكم وارتحت انا اطمنت هيك. اما وانا هناك ما كنتش مصدقه اشي، ما كنتش خالص من اللي انا مريت فيه انا وابني.
عندي سؤال تاني ليك.
تفضل.
في رايك انت ايه المستقبل اللي انت بتتمنيه ليكي ولابنك عبد الرحيم؟
اكيد حاجه حلوه حتكون، مش حاجه مايله، حتكون حاجه حلوه ان شاء الله. وانا نفسي يعني متمنيه ان انا ارتاح وابننا يرتاح من اللي شفناه. كمان احنا عانينا كثير، مش ما عانيناش، انا وابني عانينا كثير والحمد لله. وانا بتشكر كل واحد ساعدني، كل واحد وقف معايا بتشكره، ثم من هين ثم من برا، من وين ما كان، من كل دوله. انا عن جد بتشكره.
شكرا.
You know, that's amazing news. You would think that like the Palestinian crowd would be celebrating that this young boy got found alive, that after all of this drama, after all of this crap, that they would be out there celebrating the fact that Mr. Abdul Rahim was found alive. But they're not. Exclusive video reveals Gaza boy said to be killed by IDF is alive. Oh, buddy. You think that's the only one? Nope. A young Gazan boy dubbed Amir, who traveled to a Gaza Humanitarian Foundation distribution site, was reported to have been killed by the IDF in May. He's been found alive and was hiding out with his mother. In an exclusive interview with the boy, whose real name was confirmed by GHF to be Abdul Hamdan but goes by Aboud, the 8-year-old and his mother answered questions by Fox News Digital through GHF translator, in which the pair appeared excited ahead of their planned extrication from the Gaza Strip. And you know why he's got to get out of there? Because they're going to try to kill him. What is his motives for doing this? Is he in competition with Tim Kennedy for the least credible Green Beret in history? A solid question. I mean, potentially. No, if you want to know my opinion on what, because it's sheerly an opinion now at this point, and I have no problem telling you what it is. After the extensive report and research, talking with UG Solutions, talking with him, talking with other contractors that were on the ground, talking with all of these people, it's very clear, to me anyways, in my mind, that he is a disgruntled employee that got fired for substandard work. In my opinion, that is exactly what ended up happening. Outside of the strip is nice, Aboud said, according to translation verified by Fox News Digital. The story of him went viral after a GHF contractor, Anthony Aguilar, a 25-year veteran of the U.S. Army and retired Green Beret lieutenant colonel, said he saw the boy. He called Amir gunned down by the IDF forces. In his account, Aguilar showed images taken using his body cam footage of the boy approaching him and another contractor clutching onto bags of food. Aguilar claimed that he and the boy had a touching moment where Abdul, whose nickname is Aboud, kissed his hand and then his face in an apparent thanks for the food. He also claimed that the boy had walked 12 kilometers, but we know that he doesn't speak Arabic, so there's no way of him knowing that. Incog Faraday coming in, giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. The former Green Beret, hopefully not for long, said that the boy then ran back to the group of Palestinians who were shortly after forced to leave the aid site after pepper spray, tear gas, and stun grenades were employed. Aguilar, who was employed as a contractor for UG Solutions, a subcontractor for GHF, then said he heard shots fired after the Palestinians left. Upon reaching the scene, he found Aboud and others had been shot. Bull crap. Well, we know that ain't true. There's a picture of him hanging out with the GHF contractors. Had been discovered by his mother in the Gaza Strip following a GHF investigation that concluded when they appeared at the distribution site in the Gaza Strip on August 23rd. For those of you that don't know, when Aguilar came out with this story on July 28th, claiming that all of this stuff happened and that Amir had been killed, his stepmother claims that she saw him that morning and that, he was basically like abducted, taken away. They had no idea what happened to him. Well, it looks like he was actually hiding out with his mom, and his stepmother is kind of a pile of garbage. So there's some Gaza family drama going on. Looks like just, it's not just American families that have problems with child and children custody and things like that, but it also happens over in Gaza. So it turns out this young boy was actually hiding out with his mom the entire time. And I had that story confirmed to me by somebody else as well today. Shot to the torso, a shot to the leg, dead, he told Dialogue's Work. That's pretty specific, isn't it? In his accounts of the incident to multimedia outlets, as well as Senator Chris Van Hollen, on July 29th, Aguilar claimed the killing happened first outside the GHF aid site SSD-1, before telling MSNBC on the 2nd that the shooting happened near SSD-2, and then telling Dialogue Works late last month the event occurred outside of SDS-3. Imagine that. Big freaking surprise there. The identities of Abood, his mother, and the relatives were verified by GHF using facial recognition software that compared the images of the boy with those captured by Aguilar. Dan Booz says, the more BS he spews and the fact that he does any interview or public stunt leads me to believe he infiltrated GHF to intentionally try to slander the IDF and spread propaganda. That actually wouldn't surprise me either. Cletus says, didn't I say on the first day this came out, he was nothing but a disgruntled employee? Why? Yes, I did. Cletus was right again. And Cletus, thank you for making me not to be the only person that refers to themselves in the third person. Did I even bother saying that right? I don't know. But yeah, you would think that's it. Nope. Our good friend Cassie Akiva, I'm sorry, ma'am, if I just slaughtered your name. I'm sure you're listening right now. Also ended up sharing a great video of the
first drawers to the left, bottom left.
مرحبا
كيف حالك؟
والله كويس.
الحمد لله وأنا كويسة. شو اسمك؟
اسمي عبد الرحيم.
شرفنا.
Wow. Look at that. I'm good. Bet that one hurts. Now, you would think that they would all be celebrating and bringing this out, screaming, oh my goodness, thank God this boy is alive, but they're not. Now they're all trying to deny and scream that, that's not possibly the kid. And I'm going to show you guys that here in a minute. That guy was a Green Beret. Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, he retired. But yes, he was a Green Beret. And I have no doubt that there's movements right now to have his tab revoked, as it should be, in my opinion. It's funny, too. I brought this up because he had claimed that, he'd been kicked off the parachute team because of his stance on Gaza. And I even brought up the other day that I got a hold of the Special Forces Association parachute team, and I talked to the president of the SFA parachute team, who told me, in fact, he wasn't fired for that whatsoever. Not for his stance on Gaza, but because he ended up leaking sensitive information that could get Americans killed inside of Gaza. I don't know if you guys remember that video, but maybe I ought to just find that one and play it because it's so damn egregious, it's not even funny. And the Green Berets, because some of them that are on that parachute team, like current active duty GBs on that parachute team, didn't want to be seen with him in public. They wanted nothing to do with him after that. And then, to add insult to injury, the president also told me, and I quote, that he's a pathological liar. And he also told me that Aguilar told him that he was blown up in a building inside of Gaza. Yeah, imagine that one. And I bet you for, yeah, not only was he blown up inside the building, but also that GHF basically abandoned him and wouldn't take care of him. And we know that he was continued to get paid the entire time. Anyways, Cassie ended up writing a very lovely article. And congratulations to Cassie, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that didn't know, Cassie has been working very hard on this story. And a couple days ago, she gave birth to a brand new child. So even though she's got a brand new child, she was able to crank this article out. And we want to wish her and her family the best of wishes for their brand new child. Now, keeping on with this as we go along, all right, this viral claim that a Gazan's boy was gunned down by Israeli's military insider at a U.S.-backed Gaza humanitarian aid site is false. Daily Wire has exclusively confirmed that Amir is alive and in a safe, undisclosed location after a false tale about his death was spread by an American contractor. The news that the boy is alive and unharmed debunks the claim made by former GHF contractor Tony Aguilar, who has garnered attention from politicians, major media outlets, and prominent podcasts such as the Tucker Carlson Show. Now, I personally would like to know whether or not Tucker Carlson, whether or not Pierce Morgan, whether or not any of these nut jobs that actually put him on and listen to his garbage are going to actually come out and issue a retraction. That's truthfully what needs to happen, because they allowed these freaking lies to continue even when there was overwhelming evidence to the contrary. And I mean overwhelming evidence. Yesterday, he was back on Breaking Points when he said this.
These men went there on a tourist visa and participated in murdering somebody, most likely.
Participated in murder, participated as elements, as tools of a planned genocide and a planned forced displacement.
Why didn't you clarify that before, that the IDF was not intentionally firing on those civilians, like such as Amir, I guess in this case?
So one thing to realize in certain interviews with media, that there are parts of interviews that you don't see, that are cut out, that are and then there's some interviews where you don't even get the chance to say it. And I will say this tonight, and I've said it before, I have never said that I felt that the IDF in that situation were shooting at them on purpose. I've never said that.
Okay.
I don't think that. There are people that have assumptions that, the IDF are intentionally shooting at women and children. I don't believe that, because having been in combat and having seen that before, and knowing the IDF soldiers that I'd seen there, like I said, it was hard on them.
Wow. Hard on them. Okay, so, look at that. I'm wearing the same shirt and hat today. Imagine that. It's almost like I'm a real basic dude. Again, that was yesterday when he went on Breaking Points, claiming on Breaking Points yesterday that they were intentionally murdering people, that GHF was this death trap, and that everybody was getting in there, and they're murdering them, and GHF is complicit in it. Despite the fact that a month prior, he was on this show, and he had claimed that they never did that, and he had never claimed they intentionally did it. So his tune changed. But also earlier on that show, he had claimed that he was going over there just to he was going to go up over into the what the hell do you want to call it, the House Armed Services Committee or whatever, to like protest and do all sorts of other ridiculous stuff. And he ended up getting thrown out of that yesterday. For those of you that missed that, he ended up like. What did they say in there? Off to jail, I think, is specifically what they said when he was in there. Let's listen.
It is an honor to hear.
All right. Hang on just a second. Off to
obligation to the Constitution of the United States.
Off to jail.
That's what he has amounted to. I see it. Is Maya in the chat today? Maya showed up. Maya, good to have you in the house. Thank goodness you're doing good, girl. This is garbage. It turns out this entire story is a lie. The entire story is a lie. And now that we have the boy and his mother back together, and they have to be sent out of Gaza. Why? Because they're going to try to kill him. They got to get him the hell out of there. They owe it to him now to get him out of there and to get him to safety. I don't know where they're going to put them. I don't know where they're going to go. I would highly doubt it if they ever actually come out with where they're going to put this child and his mom, but they need to get out of there because he's got a freaking death sentence written on his head. But if they found that exact same boy with a bullet in his freaking head put there by Hamas to prove that the IDF did it, nobody would be questioning the identity of that child. They'd all go, oh my God, look over here, we found him. And yet, and this is probably the most disgusting thing about it, right after Cassie sent me that article and that footage, I ended up making a post about it up over on Twitter. And down in the comments section of this post, which, by the way, if you haven't even read the article I wrote on all of his lies and bullshit on this, you should probably go check that out. But here you go. People going like this. Do they look the same to you? Yeah. It's the same kid. It's literally the same kid. It's different lighting. It's 100% the same child. And then when people end up calling them out on it, you know what they do? They try to claim that, oh, no, see, he's got a snaggletooth. Takes it from an angle. They don't want to believe that this freaking kid is actually alive. It's one of the saddest things I think that I've ever seen, the amount of cope of them trying to figure out that this kid is alive, like, and try to prove that he's dead, when the truth is that he's very much alive, very much alive. I even went so far as to post an additional picture. Let me see what I do. It might be on here somewhere. Maybe it's in my replies. I don't know where I put it. But I took a straight up freaking zoomed in on this kid's dang teeth. I thought I had it stacked in those comment sections. There it is. There's a snaggletooth from that interview that you can see inside that freaking thing. It is so flipping sad, the amount of cope that these people have to try to switch angles and change everything. You would think that they would be celebrating the fact that this young boy, Abdul Rahim, is actually alive. Not Amir. That's a random name, random freaking nickname that Aguilar ended up throwing on him. How does nobody celebrate the fact that this young child is alive? And if there was ever any evidence that you needed to know that everything taking place inside of Gaza is based on lies and death cults and freaking blood libels, let this be the one. I've sat here for freaking months explaining to people the different blood libels that end up taking place over inside of there and how people are lying. And yet when they have undeniable proof and evidence thrown in their face, they still can't come out with it. Smokey Sargent says he's emulating what former Senator John Kerry did during Vietnam. Aguilar has high goals for himself, using the tragedy to gain power. Well, right. He's now become irrelevant, right? Like, I want you to picture from a psychological standpoint of being at the top of your game, being a U.S. Army Green Beret retired or lieutenant colonel, getting out, working at Home Depot, watering flowers and plants, to then going over and getting a security contractor job, but not as an actual, security personnel, as a liaison officer, keeping up communications between different sites, who, again, he's not privy to different information. So people want to know what's going on and how all of this happened. It's really clear once I looked into it that he was a liaison officer. His job was to work between a tactical communication center, a tactical operations center, and down to the guys on the ground and communicate what their needs to the IDF and push it up to GHF for these contractors that are on the ground. Coordinating. He's a coordinator. He's coordinating. He wasn't responsible for standing post. He wasn't responsible for security. Coordinating. That was his job. Coordination. And even then, when it goes down to coordination, you're not going to believe it. God, now I have to go back over here. Even when it came down to coordination and we go and we look at some of the statements that came out, which if you guys haven't read these statements, I highly recommend that you do, right? The sworn statements from the guys that he worked with, that he basically left radios unattended, things of that nature. Like, these are amazing, and they're in the article, which I should drop in here just so everybody can go see it. But again, from a sworn statement, from my brief time being around him, I would have never guessed he was a retired U.S. Army Special Forces Green Beret. He did not perform his duties in the JTOC North, failed to monitor and answer the radio during split team mobility operations where the team was trying to contact JTOC North to relay their status and situations on the ground. Anthony Aguilar was a substandard performer from the start, arrogant, ignorant, and uninformed of the entire situation and the operating environment. UG team members did not fire warning shots in the direction of civilians. I did not witness UG team members firing warning shots in the direction of civilians, and I absolutely disagree with Anthony Aguilar's statements. I did not witness UG team members using non-lethal arms like pepper spray and stun grenades in an improper manner that caused harm to civilians, and I absolutely disagree with Aguilar's statements. As a matter of fact, Aguilar ended up telling me why he ended up getting fired from there. This is what I wrote. It's not a direct quote from Mr. Aguilar, but rather a summary of our conversation to the best of my recollection. In early June, he no longer wanted to work for UGS due to confrontations with leadership, how the aid delivery mission was being handled, and other issues. Mr. Aguilar believed in the mission of GHF and wanted to continue to work in Gaza, feeding the Palestinians. On or about June 12th, he went to senior leaders in SRS, that would be UG Solutions' parent contract holder, and attempted to get a contract where he would be overseeing UGS operations. The leader from SRS told Mr. Aguilar that he cannot hire him as long as he works for UGS. However, the SRS leadership wanted him to continue to work at UGS until such a position becomes available. He then drafted a letter and gave it to SRS so when the position opened, they could have a smooth transition. On the morning of June 13th, he was confronted by a leader in UGS who fired him. Physical altercation had ensued. Mr. Aguilar's phone was broken and he was debriefed and placed in a hotel in Israel before they finally left. He finally left a couple days later. That was his version of the story that he ended up telling me after I told him that I have verifiable evidence that will stand up in a court of law that he was in fact fired and that those words came out of his own freaking mouth, that he was terminated. And when I presented him with that information, that's the story that he told me. Then I presented his version of that story to UG Solutions. Now, prior to this, there was no evidence whatsoever. Nobody in the media had actually even known that he had gotten in a physical altercation with anybody from UG Solutions. And then I find this out. This is UG Solutions' response. Mr. Aguilar was fired on 6/13/2025. Altercation did take place, but Mr. Aguilar was not struck by the UGS leader who pushed away a phone Mr. Aguilar was shoving in his face after Mr. Aguilar was refusing to comply with proper directives from a superior related to the safety of other personnel. Further, SRS has no record of Mr. Aguilar emailing a copy of his resignation letter. SRS leadership did not offer him a position with their company, and these actions would be against SRS and UGS contractual agreements. It is very clear now that this man was in fact fired. And if you don't if you can't see the writing on the wall that all of this was a master smear campaign that he had tried to put together, I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying to remember the exact phrase or word, and I wish I could remember who it was that stated it, which is the a lie will travel halfway around the world while the truth is still busy putting its shoes on. Like, nothing could be more true in this case. When this thing first came out, this man was, how do I want to say this, all over the media. People couldn't get him on fast enough before this thing could get debunked. They couldn't get him on fast enough. They just had to run with this narrative. They had to put all of this crap out. Turns out none of it's freaking true. None of it. Not even remotely close to being true. Not at all. Every single statement that he ended up coming up with, nothing was true. This right here is more evidence, by the way, now that we want to look at it, that he was in fact disgruntled, and he was disgruntled all the way back on May 30th. This is a signal chat message of when he actually, initially wanted to quit the company, according to him. This was the first thing that I was able to catch him in a lie in after I interviewed him, and he told us live on air that this was him accepting a promotion and moving to a new position. And what we actually discovered is that it wasn't. This was him telling his team that he was quitting. He intended on quitting the next day. That's what that message is that's up on your screen. And that was on May 30th, that he wanted to quit back then because he was having fights with leadership. And he even extends it out further and shows his disdain for the leadership. Blank wants everything his way, on his schedule, at his beck and call. And UG underwrites that and allows that behavior. My advice, keep your heads down, stay safe. Y'all have my number. Please stay in touch. This has truly, truly, truly been a great experience. I am very grateful. He didn't have the balls to go through with it. And so if he's presenting a letter that he claims, now I did hear, and I have to go look and check out the evidence, that UG Solutions pulled the metadata off his document that he presented as the letter in which he quit. And that metadata came out later, I believe, is actually what ended up happening. I don't want to speak on it because I honestly, I don't remember. But either way, it would make sense why, if he did have a letter with metadata on it, why? Because he had wanted to quit, he just never did. He didn't have the balls to actually do it. He wanted his job. He wanted to feel whatever the heck it was that he wanted to feel. Spaceman says, pretty sure Tony was on an agenda pusher that is trying to format further hunger at, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to say GHF was the only effective distro, as HGS was the only effective. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he would be pushing that whatsoever, to be honest with you. I mean, all of this is just complete and total garbage. You know, so that's a clearly, right, clear lie that he ended up saying. I ended up getting the message above that one, and he depicts in the message above in that signal chat, he ends up depicting another fight that ended up taking place, and then bringing up the fact that he wanted to quit back then. And like I said, I do have clear, undeniable evidence that he was in fact terminated. That ends up coming from his own words and his own voice. When I questioned him about this, where he ended up submitting the letter, again, originally he had emailed it in. And so when I brought that up to UGS, they told me that they had dug through the email systems, that they checked it, and that none of that stuff existed. There was no metadata, no nothing. They had hired, I want to say they even claimed that they hired like an independent, whatever. It wasn't there. So when I brought that back to Aguilar and I asked about it, he goes, oh, well, I sent it in a signal chat. He said, I sent it in a signal chat, but I don't have it anymore. And I said, so you have evidence that you sent this to those two people? Because that would be very helpful for your case. He said, no, I don't have it anymore because, you know, they were set to disappearing messages as per company policy. Yet these exist. Leaf, Eric, Johansson just became a true supporter. Good to have you in the fam, friend. So all of this adds up to being complete and total lies. All of it. And if you guys really want to know, I mean, if we really want to get into it, I haven't played this clip in a while, but I think now's a good time to play it because it absolutely speaks volumes of the type of human being he is. This is him disclosing the sensitive security information that could get Americans killed. This is why he got kicked off of the Special Forces Association parachute team. Not because of his stance on Gaza, but because of this.
What we do as armed security, every day, we will take armored vehicles with armored personnel. We escort the trucks, the long trailer trucks, into Gaza through gate, which is right there near, a little bit north of. If we're going to Site 4. We don't drive into Gaza and then drive Gaza to the site. We actually stay on the Israeli side and drive it on the Israeli side up to gate to deliver it to Site 4. When we get to the sites, every site has a team of guards that stay on the site 24 hours. We do so every site is allocated static security teams, and they rotate. Then after stations of that, a team gets, so you have teams dedicated to the site to rotate every and then days off. And that's at every site. I know that there are 7 of us in the entire world that have been to these sites. SRS people don't go to the sites. They're not authorized to. GHF doesn't go to the sites. They're not authorized to. The IDF don't go to the sites. They're not allowed on them. There are only 7 people in this entire world. Actually, shame on you.
You know, it's funny that somebody said Opsec, he doesn't know the meaning. Yes, he does. I guarantee you he absolutely understands the meaning. And I had to add that amount of beeps into that video because of the amount of sensitive information that he actually did give out that could get people killed. At that point, you have to ask yourself, how intentional was this entire smear campaign? How disgruntled do you have to be? Like the mens rea absolutely would exist in this case. The only possible thing that might be able to save his frickin' tush now is by claiming maximum amounts of frickin' PTSD and not thinking clearly and so on and so forth. Because what he just did, in my opinion, there's no way of proving whatsoever, none whatsoever, that as a retired Green Beret lieutenant colonel, he didn't know that that information could have been used by enemies of the United States of America to kill Americans. And then when you add the fact that Amir was not shot and killed, that he did not see Amir get killed, now you really got to ask. You really got to ask what's going on. You say, is it over? Probably not. You know, I have no doubt that this man is now going to try to come out and claim that, how do I want to say this? Now try to come out and claim that that's not Amir. Amir's dead. I saw him get killed. He's going to stick to his guns on this. You know, and I really do. I have a psychologist on standby that I might bring in to try to psychologically analyze this guy. She's offered up her services, and I think I'm going to bring her in. I've already checked her credentials. She is certified. I might just bring her in on this one. Try to predict his next move. This right here is beyond acceptable. Yes, in my opinion, it's treasonous. That information that he gave, gates being used, rotation schedules of guards, how many teams were on sites, how often they rotate off the sites, and a total number of security contractors, to the best of his knowledge, that he was aware of, that were on the ground. Exposing those figures, exposing that information, put the lives of those contractors at risk. And even if he lied about all of it, it still endangers the lives of those Americans, because it gives information, whether true or false, to the enemies that would allow them to at least think that they have a chance at attacking those guys. You know, I sent him a message after I came out with my article, because he wrote me and he was like, oh, nobody's reading your garbage article. I was like, really? 250,000 people? That's nobody? Okay, well, seems like a lot of people read it. And then amazingly, after I released that, he was kept off mainstream media for the most part. I didn't see him really taking any mainstream media freaking hits after that. Like, nobody would take him. And he wrote me and he was telling me, you know, that I'm a garbage human being. And oh, here, let's give the exact. Let me give you the exact verbiage that he ended up writing me. I ended up blocking him because he just went bananas after I wrote that. But you guys are really going to enjoy this. Let me go back here and find it. Because then he tried, you know, when that didn't work, then he had to try calling me. He says, out of nowhere, after I released that article, he said, wow, you're getting smoked on X, loser. No one believes you. You, GBNT, and Valhalla can call me anytime. You are all insecure, whiny losers. No one cares what you have to say. The GB community is laughing at you. I said, cool story, bro. Said, you are a disgraceful propaganda tool, and I know UGS paid you. I'll post the proof soon. UGS doesn't pay me. Nobody pays me. You know who pays me? You guys. By tuning into this show, by supporting me, by supporting this message, you guys pay me. You guys enable to do me what I do. Still waiting on the proof that UGS pays me, by the way. I said, you know, it seems like you are going around sending emails and messages to people who know you are full of crap. Insecure much? He says, not everybody in UGS is loyal to UGS. Cassie from the Daily Wire? Dude, you are not situationally aware. I said, I wish you the best, man. He says, she's getting smoked on X2. Thanks. Said again, I wish you the best. He says, just know that you're a disgrace to the regiment. Real Green Berets, which are not you, Jameson, or GBNT. Jameson is the owner of UG Solutions. Are embarrassed by you. Said, I wish you the best, man. He says, insecure much? Who's the one with a shit podcast that hardly nobody watches? Thanks. You too. Said, good luck on your journey. Said, I wish you the best. You as well. Well, please pass on to GBNT and Valhalla that if they had any intestinal fortitude or integrity, they can call me. Real easy to hide behind a Twitter handle. I'm not hard to find. Said, you want me to give him your number? He says, sure, not hiding behind some fake name. And we'll see what's in your records. FOIA goes both ways, my friend. I said, okay, have fun. I also told him, you condemn that kid to death. Sleep well. And he doubles down. You have no idea what you're talking about. The IDF killed him. Sadly, also, it's pretty funny that you put so much work into your investigation and nobody cares. As I said, glass houses, dude. You're living in one. You're sad and pathetic. The reporters that were killed by the IDF, ? The numerous cases of children killed by the IDF, the internal soccer star that was killed by the IDF. I guess those are my fault too, according to your logic. That's when I blocked him because he just wouldn't stop. The amount of crap that was just running through his mouth. It was insane. Cletus says, my hatred and anger levels are off the chart now. You have no idea, buddy. You have no idea. Swake has been a member of 10 months. Appreciate you, man. It's absolutely insane the amount of crap we had to go through. Miguel Berrigan came in gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Fox McCloud, hey, Matt might be a garbage human being, but he's our garbage human being. Yep. I mean, not for long, hopefully, Fox. I mean, let's be honest, man. Hopefully not for long. I like, honestly, hopefully they end up revoking his tab. You don't get to come out and frickin', tell the entire world, that some kid had died and everything else, and it just turns out to be false.
Bottom left.
Look at him.
مرحبا.
كيف حالك؟
والله كويس.
الحمد لله وأنا كويسة. شو اسمك؟
اسمي عبد الرحيم.
شرفنا.
It's me, Abdul Rahim. He's alive. 3M Forge says, I really wish that lying POS would stop getting the light of day. You and me both. I'm going to do a solid because it's been a while. I'm very curious to hear from you guys. I want to open up the Discord today because I haven't done a Discord chat in a while. So I'd like you guys to go into the Discord, and I'd like to talk to you. Please, get your butts in there. I really want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Or anything else really. We'll just take some questions or whatever that you guys have. We'll just, we'll do that. So it's opening up right now. I should be in there. You guys should be able to see me up on the screen inside the Discord. There I am. Get your butts in there, guys. Just open up the freaking chat. Get in there. Raise your freaking hands. Come on. Let's go have a conversation. It's a miracle. Wow. That's right. It is an absolute miracle that this kid is alive. I can't believe that he's actually alive. I don't even think it's fame. My personal belief is not fame. My personal belief, like I said, is being a disgruntled employee. Michael Snell, darn, I thought I was stupid. Great one, Matt. Best of luck to you and Rob, forever in debt to you. Well, thanks, Mike. Appreciate you, man. I'm not sure why you felt you were stupid, Michael Snell. If you bought into his stuff and you thought I was lying, I don't know. But hopefully, you guys that have followed the show long enough know that I'm not out there spreading lies. If I make a mistake, I am quick to correct it. If I had done something wrong, if I went off the freaking rails, I'm quick to correct it. So you better believe when I write a 4,500 word freaking report that I put as much blood, sweat, and tears in that thing as humanly possible. That man lied, like clear as a bell. He lied. He lied about the tank shooting civilians. He lied about all of that crap. He lied about a tank shooting a civilian vehicle. He admitted he didn't see that. And now we know he lied about Amir, who is perfectly alive and well. He's on video. It's been confirmed. It's the kid. Brian McLeod, Aguilar is a liar. He's like a disgruntled child. He wants to burn the whole house down on his way out the door. What a bastard. Right. The reason I'm, hammering this so much is because it really ticks me off. I don't care if this video gets a lot of views. I don't care if this program tanks after this. I don't care if I end up getting slammed with another bot attack from the frickin' pro pallies again. Because the truth is that there's good men and women that are on the ground over inside of Gaza that have been risking their dang lives to feed those people. And what he did, number one, threatened to get the aid cut off from the people that are actually making the difference on the ground. Number one. Number two, he also put their lives at risk. The men that are actually over there feeding and taking care of these people, he actually put their lives at risk. He gave away sensitive side information that the enemy could exploit to kill Americans. That's a problem. Last, he did. He condemned that kid to death when he did that. And thank God that kid has been found alive and he's getting out of Gaza, because he would have been killed. There's not a doubt in my mind that if he was left to roam the streets, that they would have put a bullet in his head and that people would be sitting there bragging about it. They just shot him in this. You know what? They wouldn't have put a bullet in his head. They would have done, this is the messed up part if you really think about it. They would have done exactly what Aguilar said. They would have actually shot that kid in the stomach, and they would have actually shot that kid in the leg and let him bleed out, just to prove that story to be accurate. Arthur says, check out Marlon Engelhorn, who's on Gaza flotilla and financed it. Enjoy the rabbit hole. Oh, you want to talk about the flotilla for a hot minute? Because they're out there, man. They're still out there doing what it is the flotilla people do. And they've got more grounds to their flotilla now, believe it or not. I can't believe that that's actually real, but more people have joined in on the frickin' flotilla. More people. Check it out.
ما هو كل شي باين في المحنة الله بيشهد مين احنا رجالة ضمن طرطش لك بنضرب حرب.
That's right. More retards have joined in the flotilla. And so you've got all these people going over there, and Israel has said that these are all going to get confiscated and turned into police vessels, I believe, like once they get over there. And then people on the boats are like, do it, man, arrest us. You take these boats, you turn them into police vessels. I hope they turn them into freaking, training and shit like that. I hope they use these boats to freaking deport Palestinians and get them the hell out of there and send them to somewhere else. I hope they use these boats for some good instead of propaganda. Like, truthfully, and I hope they take these people that are going over there to violate this blockade, and they end up throwing them in the same little terror cells that they put everybody else in, and then that after they get done serving their time, they deport them into the middle of Gaza at an undisclosed time and location, separate from each other, and just let them go. Israel doesn't have to keep them. They have to find a place that's going to take them. And I can't think of a better place that would love to have these propagandists than inside of Gaza. That's where they ought to go. When they were over there floating off the coast of, I want to say it was like Spain the other day. Yeah, they're just bringing boats to the IDF. When they were over there floating off the coast of Spain the other day, there was like a bunch of, I don't know, do you call them Spaniards? I don't even know what the hell, like Spanish people that ended up going over next to their boats and blasting like really, really loud, like Israeli music just to like crap on these people because nobody likes them, but of course you have the nut jobs that are in there. Here's another video of the massive flotilla. Here's another video of the massive flotilla and the people that went along. Originally this started off just as one boat, and it makes you wonder how much money these guys actually got after they alleged that the IDF had blown up their freaking boat and targeted it with a drone and everything else, because they took that thing on a propaganda spin. And the likely amount of money that went pouring in to that organization, that group, is funding what you're currently seeing today. Jake Fum becoming a true supporter. Sorry if I screwed up your last name. Could be Fume, probably Fum. I have no idea, man. I think one of the just most insane things to learn about groups like this is I would bet you dollars to donuts that these folks, even as a nonprofit, by the way, if they are, I haven't even bothered looking into the company, but with the donations and everything that comes in, there's people that are just lining their pockets with this BS money. And then there's useful idiots that are just floating around on these boats that are about to go over and get arrested and have their boats taken. Meanwhile, there's other people sitting in the back that are doing it. We've seen that with other nonprofits in the past. I don't know why this would be any different. Maybe they really do believe in the cause and they're trying everything else. But maybe if they actually paid attention to what was going on over inside of Gaza, they would know that those people are actually doing okay. Like, not made up propaganda, not anything. We're talking about, I don't know. Let's go with supermarkets. Here's a supermarket. I can't remember if this one is in the north or the south, but this is a supermarket over there. This isn't old. And by the way, this is something that Kogat put out. Supermarkets in Gaza over the last few days. One's in Gaza City and the other one's in Khan Yunis. Take a look at that. Take a look at that supermarket, man. Look at all of the crap on that shelf. And they're going to go ahead and try to claim. Got to mute it. These are all videos that end up getting posted by Palestinians. This isn't stuff that like Kogat went over and like grabbed. This isn't their propaganda. This is all crap that gets posted by Palestinians on TikTok. And I've said it forever that like, if you don't have a TikTok account to see the actual truth that's going on in Gaza, boy, are you missing out. Boy, are you missing out, because they are living large, some of them are. I reported last night and said that tents, you know, those humanitarian tents, they're going for $1,200 cash. Those white tents are being sold inside Gaza. The donated tents, they didn't pay for that crap, going for $1,200 cash. That is a bucket of pepperoncinis sitting there. Y'all see that? That is a bucket of pepperoncinis. They are all such liars. And now I'm not saying that everybody in Gaza can go and afford food like this. I'm not saying that at all. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are really broke because they're not on Hamas's side and they're not getting paid off by Hamas or whatever the case is, or maybe they're not dirty human beings or whatever it is. But for dang sure, they're able to get this food. And that's going to feed a good chunk of the population. But with all of the food that's stacked up on the border, you've really got to figure out what's going on there. Fox McCloud says, Matt, you got to find a good charity for us to reward. I do. Fox McCloud, I have a great charity. If you guys want to reward a charity, if you guys just want to do me a favor, if you guys just want to do something good, do me a solid. Donate to the Green Beret Foundation and help those people out. Green Beret Foundation does so much for RGBs, it's not even funny. Even at one point in my life, years ago, I needed help, and the GBF was able to help me. And every single time I'm asked, for a reputable organization for people to donate to, I give the Green Beret Foundation. They're quick, they help those warriors out, and they take care of them. You want a good organization to donate to? You want to know that your money is going to go to something good? Put it in the Green Beret Foundation. They take care of those boys. Arter. Marlene's grandparents manufactured Nazi concentration camps, Zyklon B. You're kidding me. And that's the lady that started the flotilla thing. They manufactured Zyklon B. That's got to be a joke. No way, man. No way. That can't be true. That sounds so egregious. It's not even funny. Brian, you're a moderator and you can't bring yourself up on stage? That blows my mind, man. Can you hear me okay, Brian?
Yeah, I can. I was just waiting for you. I didn't want to jump in and interrupt you.
No, you're fine, buddy. You're fine.
Hey, just a quick question. Did you ever find out if Aguilar did get arrested for what he did yesterday or the other day?
I haven't looked into it yet to see. I'd have to go look up if it's Capitol Hill Police and what their jail is to see if their charges get. And normally those are like 24 hours stagnant anyways. I might be able to actually just like call over, find their public affairs officer and talk to them to see if he got charged yesterday. See if they'll send me information. That would be nice to see.
Oh, yes, it would.
Yeah, so maybe I'll go ahead and do that after the show. I'll give them a buzz. I've got a little drive that I have to make and some other errands I have to run. That sounds like something I do while I'm driving around today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
And then
I'm with you.
To touch on what you said last night about Aguilar, that he is a pathological liar. If if people don't know how to spot one, when he talks, you can see that he's concentrating hard enough to make sure his stories line up, but he doesn't trip over himself.
To me, it's the over explanation of things.
That too.
When I asked him about that text message, about that signal chat live on air, when I went back to see and to make that cut and to keep it in context for what it was, what his excuse was for sending that thing about him quitting, because he knows that looks damning. I think it was 3 minutes long. I'd have to go over there and look, but I think it was a 3 minute plus long explanation of everything. And it was like this, in circle roundabout talking way of all of that garbage. Blows my mind.
Yeah. The only time I've seen him tell the truth was when he disclosed all that sensitive information about the logistics of the company and delivering stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I would bet that was pretty dang accurate. Sergeant, what's up, bud?
Two things. First, stay off your phone while you're driving.
No, that's what earbuds are for, man. Bluetooth, you know. But you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
I'm just fucking with you. Also, have you ever thought about maybe doing like a members live with NSFW videos from our chat?
No, I haven't. Maybe I should
because
do that.
would be sick. Also, well, it would be better if if you could go over each individual video. But another thing is there's a recent video that has been put in there by multiple of us from the group of the Ukrainian mixing in with the two Russian guys.
Oh yeah,
and then
that's an awesome video. Yeah, just blowing their brains out.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That was great. Anyway, brother, that's all I got.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe we'll have to do those. That's actually a good idea. We can do that. Maybe we'll do that this weekend. Yeah, I don't know. I like that. Cletus, tried to pull you up to the stage, man. Don't know what's going on with you. I see you wanted to jump up, so I sent you up there. You I think you gotta accept and come in here. What do you think about that, Brian? You down with doing an NS not safe for watch?
Yeah, that would be dope. Because there's been some pretty cool stuff popping up in there.
All right. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to take it the funker direction and do that. Maybe, crap, man. Maybe we'll do that tonight. Because I started doing, and for those that don't know, I started doing the evening live sessions. I started doing them at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, try to like spread it out and get some of the best love, for the East Coast and the West Coast in there. And I kind of like that time frame. I think it's working really well. But that also opens me up to do like a members only or something like that evening, maybe we can do that like a couple times a week. Start utilizing that a hell of a lot more. I like that. Yeah. Seems
that sounds like a lot of fun.
Anyways. Yeah. No, it sounds like a good time. I really like that. All right, man. Well, it's nice to know that he's a confirmed liar. You got anything else there, Bri? I guess Cletus got cold feet.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Cletus. Come on, Cletus.
Yeah, we try to bring up Cletus, man, but he doesn't want to play. I love hearing Cletus talk, man. He always makes me laugh. You know who I really miss talking to? Like drunk Chris Griffin. I miss talking to drunk Chris Griffin.
Yes.
C88, what's up, buddy?
What's going on?
How goes it?
So this whole thing about him losing all that Opsec, like that's just nuts if you think about it.
Well, right. Yeah, I mean, that just shouldn't have been done in general. Like, he should have never, ever, ever given that information out. Ever.
No, especially when you think about it, because he gave away everything, routes, timing, whole 9 yards.
Yeah. I mean, he gave tons and tons and tons of information away. He gave out, like, actual figures of how many contractors are on the ground, how many security teams, how often they rotate, gates that they used, which essentially gives away the routes that they use. And then you could judge just based on, well, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about how you can use that information for targeting, but you absolutely can.
Oh, I know exactly where you're going with that. I was recon, so.
Yeah, I'm not going to use the information for how you could, like, give examples for how you could use it for targeting, but you can. It's not okay. Not okay.
No, not at all.
Could you have figured out, can you think of a way based on that information, knowing how many security teams and how often they rotate off the sites, how many contractors, security teams are actually on the site?
Easily.
Like numbers, almost like a minimum and a maximum?
Easily. I mean, no sweat at all. And I was also a 13 Fox, so I mean, with that information too, I know exactly where to set my mortars up to do damage.
Right. Yeah, there's that as well. I mean, you could, dude, the amount of like TRPs you could set, knowing those different routes is insane. Like knowing the specific gate even, you know what I mean? Like just giving away the gate number. That was
shocking. Oh yeah, because you just complex ambush, right? Started off with an ID, small launch fire, and drop some mortars on top, and there you go.
I mean, you wouldn't even need a complex ambush. You would literally just need line of sight and some good glass and then just watch that gate until they start coming in and just start freaking sending them, you know?
Yeah.
It's really sad. It's really sad. That really pissed me off. Like if there was one thing that man I hope sees jail time for, it's that. Like, you know, to hell with him losing his tab, like all that other stuff, all great talking points. But in all honesty, those men on the ground, he endangered the lives of those men. And as an American, I can't think of another, like that is just so freaking egregious, man. You know, to claim that you care about those guys, to claim that you care about that kid, to claim that you care about the people in there, and then to come find out that it's all bullshit. I can't wrap my head around that. Like, that is some straight freaking, like, vengeance that man was going. Like, that is just, like, the definition of malevolence. You know?
Yeah, 100%.
It's disgusting. Smokey, what's up, man?
Hey, brother. Hey, I've got a prediction about Aguilar.
Send it.
I believe he's setting the stage that he's going to be the leader or a leader of the Op 4 that is rising in this country. He's going to be sought out to be one of those. And they're going to pick him because former Green Beret and total opposition against what's going on over in Gaza. And I believe he's going to be one of the people on the ground over here that's going to have to be dealt with.
I would believe it.
If you understand what I'm saying, because that type of person just doesn't go away.
You know, I look at some of the stuff that he's doing. Like I said, like I one of the interviews, and it was after I talked to him, he came out and he tried to do another interview, and then I saw him over on like TikTok again, I think. And then like some smaller stuff. But what I noticed was that he started virtue signaling with the ways that he was pronouncing things. You know, how they're like, instead of just saying it like an American and going Gaza, you know, like they'll throw like the different, stuff like that. So his pronunciation of those things got a hell of a lot better. And that tells me that either he has gotten so in depth into the culture that he is really just trying to appeal to that crowd, or B, that he has somebody that's training him. And then when you look at the fact,
that's exactly what I'm thinking.
And then when you look at the fact that yesterday he went on Breaking Points and he said on Breaking Points that he was going to go to the Capitol right afterwards, and that he was going to make it known that they're complicit in this genocide, or whatever his exact phrase was. And then he goes over there screaming and interrupting their meeting just to get arrested. That is like starting to go down that freaking radicalization path.
Exactly. And he's a threat. And trying to choose my words wisely. He needs to be, he needs to be taken.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
He needs to be dealt with. I'm judging my words cautiously because I don't want people thinking I'm some kind of freaking nut. But no, I know I've seen this kind of thing before, and he's going to be a major problem very soon.
Do you think he's getting paid?
I think he's getting paid. I think he's getting trained, and I think he's getting also radicalized to the point where he had a beef in the beginning, and those are the prime targets that people who seek out leaders of cells to radicalize, to move. That's he's got the exact profile of somebody that terrorists will use to train and to radicalize, because he's got a major beef right now with the SF community, with the government, and everything else. And he's prime pickings, and that's exactly what I believe is happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually put out a poll. I'm just gonna ask the chat if they think Aguilar is getting paid. Very curious to know what everybody thinks about it. Yeah, I mean,
if he's not getting paid, he's definitely getting promised something in the future.
Well, I think it's also really interesting the timing that he decided to go out and do that yesterday, because we have noticed, and we talked about it, like there is always this, it seems to be coordinated effort, always seems to be like a coordinated effort with this like smear and disinformation, misinformation campaign that comes out. And so you had like the flotilla coming out, you had, all of this garbage coming out. And it seems like they just stacked it all up. And so it does make me believe that he's intertwined with like the smear campaign group, or he's just griffing off of it and was like, oh, look at that. People are starting the smear campaigns back up. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to interrupt, trying to get a seat there. But I don't know how he wouldn't have been reached out to yet by any of these people. Right? So.
Right. And I'm convinced that he's being promised something from higher up. And that's why he's doing what he's doing, because it fits the narrative to further disruption of who we are.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. 98% of the people polled so far think that he's been paid. So there's that. 98%.
And I don't think it's cash. I really don't. I think he's getting taken care of financially, but I don't think he's getting like some huge sum. I think somebody higher up has said, look, we got a position for you in the future. Just keep doing what you're doing. Because that's exactly what they did with Senator John Kerry. They brought him in. He was disgruntled from the Vietnam because basically he got denied promotion. And they came over and said, look, if you will do this and this and this and this for us, and even go in front of Congress and testify, we will make you a senator.
Well, if he goes to Dearborn, Michigan, then we know what's going down.
Definitely.
Or one of those other places that's slowly being radicalized as well.
Well, Texas is on its way of falling too.
Texas
I hate to say that. I hate to tell that to you, but man, it's got marks all over the place.
Well,
and it's
you saw the airport.
It's worrying the hell out of me. Yeah, it's worrying the hell out of me, man. It makes me fucking sorry for my language. It makes me fucking freak out because I'm sitting there seeing all this crap and nobody is paying attention to it. And this is exactly how they took over Gaza. This is exactly how the dang Muslim empire, the Ottoman Turk Empire, took over Europe. They moved in as settlers, and then they came in, and then they just took over. And I'm like going, this is happening right now.
It is.
And nobody is paying damn attention until it's too late.
I mean, the governor's been paying attention down there. The governor has, dug into, the Epic Center quite a bit. And he has came out openly speaking about Sharia law and how it's not going to be allowed in the great state of Texas. But then you see things you see things.
I don't think he's going to go far enough, because the only way to get rid of this is to move it by force. And that goes against everything our Constitution says.
Well, right.
So I don't think he will do it. I don't think anybody in this country, I don't even think Trump will do it, because it goes against the very principles of every single part of the Constitution when you forcibly remove a population.
Well, I think people just need to start speaking out, to be honest. And I don't mean speaking out saying, hey, look, this is a problem. I mean speaking out in a manner in which they're not scared to. Like,
I've been speaking out for years, but I got ostracized.
It was 2 nights ago. I think it was 2 nights ago when I was speaking on a live session. Somebody asked me,
they're here in Colorado
whether or not I believe in Muhammad or like disavow Islam or something. And I was like, yes, I believe Muhammad is a false prophet. I'm a Christian.
Right.
Like, that is my religious belief. Like, I think Muhammad is a false prophet. That is my religious belief.
I think we're at the point, though, speaking out against Islam and Islam's movement, it's not going to do anything.
Well, it will.
Our society has gotten so complacent that they don't think anything is a problem until it's right on their front doorstep.
I disagree, man. I think that Americans don't understand Islam, I think, is the problem. I think that Christians in general have bought into the lie that Muslims believe in Jesus too. They don't. They don't believe in the same Jesus that Christians do. They
only believe he existed.
Well, they believe he was a prophet.
Yeah, the Muslims believe that Jesus existed, but they don't believe he was the son sent by God.
Right. They just think he was a prophet. Came down to some great things. And so they're willing to take all of the personal accounts of the New Testament, you know what I mean? And to say that those things are real up until the point where he was killed. up to the point where he was resurrected, up to the point where he rose to heaven. Like all of that, they say it's all false. They say that those are all false scriptures, that, you know, all of that's just a lie. I'm trying to remember what the name is that they use specifically for those scriptures, but they don't believe in Jesus.
Well, I see a lot of people in chat saying their states are secure. Well, I don't believe it, because I've been following their movements. They're all over the place. And Muslims can look just like you and me. They don't have to be brown. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's not an Arab thing. Islam is a movement, and they are white. Some of them are ginger white. And you don't even know that they're there until it's too late.
You know, I had a video that amplifies what you just stated, and I'm looking for it right now. I'm not sure if I still have it up on the screen here.
Why am I migrating here?
Let me play this for people. If you guys are on the stage, you're not going to be able to hear it. Well, you know what? There's a way for me to do this over in Discord as well. So give me a sec so I can share this with you guys, because I want you guys to be able to see this as well.
This was behind your bed.
And that means also, in order for you guys to see that, I have to go like this. And I think now you guys can see that, and you guys will be able to hear it.
Why am I migrating here? Why am I in America? The Prophet ﷺ's companions left Mecca to go to a land that had no Muslims. We are in this country purely for the sake of Allah. The moment you make this intention, you will look at things different. People will meet you different. How could it be that your co-workers know you as a Muslim for 10 years, not once you presented Islam to them? You don't know why your purpose is here. All you guys together, we are in this country for Allah.
As we're here living in the U.S., what is our role now? What is the way forward? Let me just quote for you an ayah of the Quran, and I'm going to try to encapsulate it. Allah is saying, do not obey the disbelievers. Don't yield to them. And then he gives us the process of what to do next. وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا. And so make jihad again.
Make jihad.
Exactly.
This is where I think people are losing out, man. You know, I really do. I think that is where people are missing. Like that's a command, according to them, that they have been given for the disbelievers. Make jihad against them. And jihad, for those that don't know, is launching a holy war. And that is what's taking place in this country. That's why I went so dang hard on it yesterday inside of the live session, because I don't think people know what's waiting for them in the next couple months.
And I appreciate you for that, Matt, because finally somebody else is getting just as adamant about telling people about this, because I've been telling people locally, religious figures, that we're in the midst of a religious war. This is a religious war, and they are already here. They're just waiting for the right opportunity.
I agree. And there's some information I'm waiting to hear back from a couple people, but there's something big, because I do believe that there is an attempt to silence me and silence this podcast. And I'm going to
Islam and a lot of people don't understand.
Have my attorney fill out a statement for me to put out publicly on this, and I'm likely going to start speaking publicly on this, because I view something that's currently happening to me as an attack on the First Amendment, slanderous, and also an attempt to silence me because of my stance against Islam and radical Islam. And so
exactly,
as soon as I get the go ahead and approval for a lot of these different things, I'm hitting the freaking go button on it. And I think people are going to be very clear here, very clear what's going on.
A lot of people don't understand. Islam and socialism are one and the same. And the only difference between Islam and socialism is Islam has a religious aspect to it. But everything else that socialism is, Islam is. And they have taken over our capital cities, every single one of them. And that is a problem. I mean, from Austin to Seattle to LA to New York City, they have taken over our cities.
Right.
And you take over the cities, it's very easy to spread out.
Right. No, I agree. And I think they're just going to continue to spread, and I think they're going to continue to do their little jihadist freaking conduct that they're doing. And I think that we're going to see some very serious attacks in the very near future because of all of this. You know, we're seeing the violent rhetoric. Yeah. We're seeing more and more videos of this violent rhetoric that are coming out. You know, clearly there is a man in plain English standing there screaming that they are commanded to conduct jihad against the non-believers.
Exactly.
And that's happening in this country under freedom of religion. They have slid in under freedom of religion.
Yep, they're using our Constitution against us.
Chris says, Matt from California mentioned the issues in passing to coworkers and friends, some in law enforcement. The culture is set to where the masses don't follow any of it because they don't think it's a problem. They will when it happens again. That I can promise you. I want to give the night guy a chance to speak. He's been hanging out down there for a hot sec.
Yeah, hi Matt.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good. I've been following your channel since the beginning of the war in Ukraine, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just one thing I wanted to say is regarding that video you showed like about 2 days ago of that woman that she was saying that she like only killed 4 children or something. Do you know what I mean? Like she was like,
her 4 children were dead. She wishes she had more, like that she gave up for jihad. Is that the one you're talking about?
No. She was saying that I only killed 4 children. The other,
the Israeli, the alleged Israeli.
Yes,
where I was
so
like, that seems like garbage.
Yeah, but I was saying I'm Jewish, and I do think she's actually Jewish or Israeli. She is Israeli, and what she was doing over there is she was using sarcasm. It's like. Yeah, no, not provoking. It was like, let's be real. Like, come on. Oh, yeah, I've killed only 4 children. Like that kind of thing, which is like, it's a Jewish sarcasm, but she doesn't get it, that people don't get that. Like, if they don't have that same language, you know what I mean? They don't get it, so.
Right. And, you know, it's funny, too. Like, I'm trying to, like, that was a thought that went through my head. There's all sorts of thoughts that go through my head, but it just seemed off. It's not, you know, it didn't seem right. So I'd have to go watch the whole thing. And I hate it when videos like that are taken out of context. But
she was like talking like Hebrew in the background as well.
Well, here's the thing is you would be hard pressed to find a soldier, and people that haven't been to combat don't understand this, that oftentimes you don't get to see exactly who you're shooting at because that's not how it unfolds. And so just looking at that on like face value, you know, for her to claim that she just randomly shot 4 people in general, that she knows that she killed 4 people with as little time in combat that is like taking place between, you know, now and then, I find that highly unbelievable just in general. I have no doubt that there is some Israeli soldiers that are like, yeah, for dang sure, I know I shot 4 people. But those instances of you like physically seeing who it is you're shooting at are pretty rare.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what she's trying to say with that. Like, it's the only, you're missing the only. It was like basically like making fun of him, kind of.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I believe that. I would believe that. Yeah. That seems way more believable, to be honest. And that's not me talking as like a paid Israeli shill. That's just me stating after my experience in war, yeah, that seems highly likely. That seems way more probable than believing face value of what that video is. Because even looking at that video, it doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming up and bringing that up. That's important. I forgot to get back on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and close this one down. Urban warfare, John, believe me, I understand urban warfare. I have my fair share of urban warfare as well. And I know it's much different, and I know all of those things. So I get it. But the enemy still hides in urban warfare as well. I'm not saying you don't get to see and kick the bodies afterwards, but to know that you shot and killed that individual person is something completely and totally different. And it's just the way it works. Nobody's just standing in the open waiting to get shot, right? That's up there against you, going to fight you. They're hiding inside buildings. They're hiding inside tunnels. They're shooting around corners. They're doing all of these things. And again, it's a very rare case to where you've got these people that are right there in front of you. What do I know? You know, just a couple of years at war, urban and not. What would I know? All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and close this one out for the day. I'm pushing way past time, and I'm late for a doctor's appointment, so I want to get going and get off to that. Yeah, I had open. I'm going to have to go back. I actually had what I wanted to do for the devotional pulled up a little bit earlier, and I accidentally closed it out. So now I got to go back and go over some of these things. And then the purpose of today's devotional is going to be walking with God, making sure that you are doing your best to walk with God. 1 John chapter 1, verse 7. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another. And the blood of Jesus, his son, purifies us from all sin. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 2. And walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Now, all those are very important, in my opinion, like to go over and look at and to actually think about it and how it is you're conducting yourself on a daily basis and what it is you're doing. I like the one from 1 John because it actually brings up fellowship with one another. I think it's really important. You know, often when you're off and you're doing your own thing and you're deep in religion, whether or not it is, you know, something for, how do I want to say this? You could be the most religious person in general, and you could sit at home and you can study and you can know everything all day long. And the moment you go out into the world, number one, you're going to be faced with a lot of stuff, and we are humans. We are not perfect. God can do so much, but it is also so helpful to have other people in your life that are steadfast just like you. And so that's why it's important to have a sense of community in a church, or, you know, like to have that in your life. Walking in the light also is huge as far as I'm concerned, because that light that you're walking in, walking as best as you can along with God, with faith, all right, is also extremely important, because your actions and what you do trying to emulate, and for those that don't know, Christians, all right, means like a follower of Christ, i.e. you are trying to be Christ-like. Doing that should be showing other people what Christians are supposed to look like, right? Like when the Bible talks about judging others by their fruits, there you will be judged by how you treat other people. As a matter of fact, Bible even brings that up as well, all right? They're going to know your faith by how you treat other people, and it's really important. And just as we see, like in that video that I ended up having up on the screen that talks about, you know, Muslims that are supposed, like, hey, you've been here for 10 years. How come you haven't shown another person Islam? How come they don't know the Quran? I want you to think about that. Because like I said, in my religious belief, that man, Muhammad, is a false prophet. And they are pitching a false prophet and trying to push people towards that false prophet. And in Christianity, that's what you should be doing. Not pushing a false prophet, but pushing God, pushing Christ on people to bring people and to glorify Christ, to bring people into the fold, to help save their souls. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys for joining me for another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. I'm going to go ahead and take off. Peace, love, happiness, and God bless. I